Hello everyone, it is TooAwesome here with another video. Now today I want to talk about a show that came to Netflix pretty recently, but I haven't seen many people talk about it, so I felt like I would do the honors of telling you why you should watch The Great Pretender. Editor's note, there are quite a lot of videos talking about this very topic, but who cares? Let's do it. Okay, so this goes without saying, but there will be no spoilers since this is a why you should watch. But anyway, Netflix has not been missing recently, at least with the shows I have seen, and more specifically their anime, because they are acquiring some pretty good shows. They are hitting their stride and are putting out some pretty good projects as well, and honestly they have to, since their competition is getting even more dense, especially with Disney, but that's a topic for another time. So let's talk about The Great Pretender. So far, the show only has one season with 14 episodes. I do believe it is getting a second season, but a lot of these are just rumors and speculation, so as far as I know, nothing is confirmed. The show was also made by the same people who made Attack on Titan and Vinland Saga, so you can already tell it's gonna be good. But with those beginning statements out of the way, let's talk about the story. The story follows our protagonist, Mikado Edamura. Sorry if I butchered the name, I'll just call him Edamame for the rest of the video like they did in the show. But we follow Edamame, who is apparently Japan's best swindler, who gets swept up into a job where he is way over his head thanks to our French friend, Laurent Theory. The show goes from trying to swindle mob bosses by creating fake drugs, to trying to win fixed plane races, to even conning sketchy art appraisers. This show has something for everyone. Although I'm not going to go into too much detail for the story since I don't want to reveal any more spoilers, but basically the show so far is broken down into 3 parts or 3 different cases, each focusing on a different swindle or job. Now each of these jobs takes place in a different location, and I gotta hand it to the show because they each pick super unique areas to stage each of the scams, and on top of that the art style makes each location look super unique. And that doesn't just go for the locations, it also goes for the backgrounds, the streets, basically everything. And that was one of the first things that drew me in. Now, I know a lot of people don't base the shows they watch off of the art style, but it can motivate you a little. I mean, that happened in my case specifically with Demon Slayer, so I know it can play a role in deciding what you watch. But anyway, the art style is so different from so many other shows. Each of the backgrounds and settings are popping with color and bursting with vibrance, and this unique art style doesn't just account for the background as well. The characters in this show are each uniquely designed and have many defining characteristics. Now, I know in a lot of other shows, a lot of the characters can blend together or are just used as a blank screen to project the watcher's feelings onto, but that really isn't the case here. Each character has their own unique look and goals. One may be in it for the money and another for the thrill, and that sense of finding out the character motivations kept me intrigued throughout the show. Like, these characters are actually like real people, which is something I sadly don't see too much of in anime. Like, these people are very grounded with their own ideas, moral compasses, and drives. And on top of that, most of the main characters get their own arc or case to explain their background, motivation, and many other questions throughout the show. Because at least with me, I didn't think much of the side characters at first, but as the show progressed, they got way more interesting. Like, some of the minor characters at the beginning of the show somehow ended up as some of my favorites. And not only did I find myself liking our main characters, but I found myself hating the villains, which is really good since our protagonists are gonna scam them for everything they are worth. And trust me, these villains are the worst of the worst. Just all around scumbags, and you'll find yourself rooting for our main characters to take them down in some super complex and elaborate scheme. Now, I will admit, there was one thing I found a little odd about the show, and that was the English voice acting at the beginning, or some people call it English. Because it was something.
Excuse me?
How did you take my wallet?
What are you talking about? It was you who said it was my wallet.
I mean, honestly, it wasn't that bad, but gladly they drop that whole thing and even make jokes and references to it later in the show. Now, I watched in Japanese with the English subtitles, so I'm not sure how that whole thing panned out in the English dub, but I thought I would mention it. But this show is like the music that plays behind it. Jazz. Exciting and fast-paced one moment and slow and smooth another. Wrapping exciting adventures and visuals around heartwarming stories. You never know when one person is going to go for a solo and follow their own aspirations, or when the whole song will fall apart drastically. And that keeps you invested, as the story wisps along, hitting each note with a bang. This show is amazing. It does everything it needs to right. Amazing characters, fast-paced story, interesting art style, and good music. On top of that, it addresses many different topics, some pretty deep as well, including drugs, gambling, fraud, morality, manipulation, and so much more. If you need a show to keep you entertained, this is the one for you. It does its job so well. And if you need a show to try and get a friend to finally give anime a shot, this one might be it, since it is pretty similar to many American crime shows, with, of course, that anime spin. Overall, you can't go wrong with this show, so go watch The Great Pretender. I'm sure you won't be disappointed.